Hi, I'm Amber,
And I'm Kirsten.
and you're listening to
Lurking in the Shadows.
Welcome to True Crime in a Dime
Where we tell you a chilling story.
in 10 minutes time.
This is a new segment we are starting for cases that we want to cover that don't quite have enough information to be a full episode, but we still want to share them. So we're going to start with 4 10-minute-ish episodes and see how that goes.
Yeah, and they're just any unsolved, any solved, any case, anything that we got, just a little bit of information that we think these people should have a little bit of attention, and maybe it's not something that we can make a full episode out of, but it's still definitely worth to put it out there.
Yeah, their stories still need told, their names still need to be known.
Yes, for sure.
All right, so I'm going to start off. And after this episode, we would appreciate feedback if you think 4 cases was enough. If you think we should include more in these episodes. Any feedback you got.
Yeah.
My first case is about TannerWard. On June 7, 2017, a 19-year-old named TannerWard left his home to meet up with an acquaintance named Jeremiah. Now, Tanner and Jeremiah are not friends. They're just acquaintances. His mom and siblings don't really know much about this Jeremiah. He had nothing on him when he left the house, just clothes on his back and shoes he was wearing. His mom was preparing dinner at the time he was leaving. She asked if he would be back in time to eat dinner, and he said he was only going to be gone for 30 minutes and she can make him a plate. Tanner had a fiancée at this time named Megan. They also had a little baby girl named Sophia, who he was absolutely in love with and obsessed with.
Aww.
His sister described his and Megan's relationship as a fairy tale type romance. They were very in love. A quick little background about Tanner. He struggled with some drug use in his teenage years, so he's only 19 at this time. So, in early November 2016, Tanner and his brother were arrested in a hostage type situation that was drug related. One of the hostages was Jeremiah.
Oh, wow.
He pleaded guilty on November 22nd of 2016 and was given 5 years probation. After this, he was working very hard to get his life back on track and to be a great dad and role model to his baby daughter. After he didn't come back home for dinner, his family became concerned because it wasn't like him to not come home or to contact anyone. But he did not have a cell phone at this time, nor did he have a car.
Okay.
His sister Kelsey was also suspicious because she didn't really know Jeremiah. They live in a small town where most people know each other, so she took it upon herself to retrace Tanner's steps and find Jeremiah's house. When she arrived at Jeremiah's house, no one answered the door, but it was unlocked, so she opened it and looked inside, and she said the place was a mess. There was a hole in the wall, furniture was overturned, and Tanner's baseball cap was lying on the floor. She immediately reported her brother missing to police and took the hat with her as evidence, but they originally speculated he was a runaway because of his history. 2 weeks go by and there isn't really any new evidence or update. Kelsey began handing out and posting homemade flyers and missing persons flyers during this time, and she ran into Jeremiah while she was hanging some. She reports he was wearing the shirt Tanner was wearing the day he went missing. And she noted cigarette burns on the shirt that Jeremiah said were just stains. She was very alarmed by this and threatened to call police, but he willingly said he would accompany her to the police station. Trenton Police Chief Thomas Wright reports they thoroughly investigated Jeremiah. The shirt was tested, but results were inconclusive. After he showed deception during a voice stress test, police were compelled to search his father's property, but I don't think he lived with his father, so I don't know why they felt the need to just go and search his father's property, because Tanner supposedly went missing from Jeremiah's apartment, but they're searching his father.
Okay.
So that part didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Cadaver dogs were used and they searched a burn pit, but they stated they only recovered animal bones. They also dug a 6-foot by 10-foot hole in this area, but did not find anything. His case seemed to go cold after this, and they even served a parole violation while Tanner was missing because they assumed he left on his own. So this poor kid is missing.
Yeah.
And they're serving him with a parole violation.
Cool. Yeah.
That's all they care about.
Yeah.
On December 4th, 2017, almost 6 months after Tanner disappeared, 2 high school students found a body hanging from a tree 25 feet in the air in a wooded area on their way to school. An autopsy using dental records confirmed the body would be TannerWard.
Wow. That's terrible.
He
25 feet in the air.
Yeah, he was found hanging just 3 blocks from his home.
Oh my god.
And are you ready for this? His hands were mummified and his feet were missing.
Okay. All right. We're discussing this after you're done.
Just remember all this.
I will.
His shoes, pants, and a single sock were found at the bottom of the tree. There were no obvious signs that wildlife had disturbed his body. Do you want to take a guess how they ruled his death?
Suicide.
A suicide.
Yeah.
Like, I just...
Yep. He climbed up there feetless.
Yeah. What? How?
Oh.
Okay. They attributed his death to hanging by a rope with no other injuries found, and they speculate he had been hanging there for a long time. So I have lots of questions.
Wow.
They're saying there's no injuries, but his feet were missing.
Yeah.
Why were his hands mummified?
Yeah.
If he had been out there for 6 months, like police say, how was he mummified during a hot, humid Missouri summer? Because he's from Missouri.
Okay. Yep.
How did no one... Yeah, for 6 months. Because he went missing in, June, and then he's found in December. No one smelled a body or saw a body hanging for 6 months?
Also, if he was... Did it say he was hanging by his neck?
Yes.
Your body's not going to hang by your neck for 6 months.
No. So it's going to separate.
Yes, just to let you know, decomposition, you are not still hanging up there for 6 freaking months. No. So that man's body was somewhere in a nice, cool, dry place to mummify his hands.
Yep.
And I want to know, was it a clean cut on his ankles? Are we talking, like...
They don't mention that at all.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Because the feet are missing, but what do the ankles look like?
Yeah. And also, how much, if the hands are mummified, how much decomposition is, because he hasn't had to go through that much that when he's still hanging by his neck.
Right.
Like, he ain't that decomposed if he's still able to hang by his neck.
Right.
So, like, there should be some kind of scientific way to sit here and, like, find out a timeline here of, like, exactly, even probably how long he's been hanging up there, like, what were the temperatures? There has to be a way that we can sit here and figure out, like, the speed of decomposition.
Yeah, well, his family said in Missouri, their summers are very hot, wet, and humid.
Yeah. So he's
How's he getting mummified?
Obviously, he was in somebody's basement. Like, You can't convince me otherwise. A cool, dark place that he sat there preserved for. I mean, him hanging by the neck. I mean, by the time they found him, honestly, he probably was just hung there. You cannot tell
Yeah.
me
No.
that he was
One of
there
Tanner's
even
childhood
days.
friends said he walked that path numerous times and never saw anyone hanging from a tree. And his family searched that area. It
Yeah.
was 3 blocks away.
Wow.
His
That's
pants and
terrible.
shoes were on the ground. Clearly, someone would have come across those over 6 months,
Yeah.
just sitting there on the ground.
Yeah, and like you said, smell.
Yes. Construction workers at a nearby site 25 feet from where he was found said they never saw or smelled a dead body when they were there working in the summer. So someone must have stored him somewhere, like in a freezer.
Yeah.
Something.
And if he was frozen or something, that would be on the autopsy. You would be able to tell that.
Yes.
So,
and even if his feet had fallen off from decomposition and gravity, like there were no bones reportedly found at the scene. And his shoes were there. So if he had his shoes on and his feet just fell off from decomp, wouldn't there be bones in the shoes?
yeah.
Some sort of remains left in the shoes.
Yeah. And like,
and the other thing, like we said, if it was decomp and gravity, how is his neck still intact, hanging from a rope?
It's not going to.
No.
So yeah. I want to know who did the autopsy and what the full report is, because I just feel like we're not getting the full report because you can't be that oblivious to these things. Like,
no,
you know?
But the coroner and the police all agree it was suicide. And like I said, I could not find any mention of what his ankles looked like. Like, was there evidence of trauma?
That's what I want to know. Yeah. And
I could not, for the life of me, find an autopsy report.
Well, that's kind of a sad ending because I don't know. Is his family going to fight for that? Like, are they?
Yeah. So his family is questioning a lot of what we just discussed, and they absolutely deny that Tanner would have killed himself. He was working on a better future. He had a daughter and a fiance who he loved very much. He also had Father's Day plans because it was June. His father was away on deployment. Yeah. He said he'd be back in 30 minutes, and his father was away on deployment, and they had plans with him for Father's Day coming up in 2 weeks.
That's sad.
Now, obviously, anyone could have suicidal thoughts, despite everything I mentioned. You never know what someone's really going through, but just based off a lot of this stuff doesn't add up to go to suicide. Like, there's a lot of missing information.
Yeah, for sure.
He left that home that day intending to return back. So, like, where did he get this rope from? He left with only the clothes on his back. Where did this rope come from?
And 25 feet in the air.
Right. How did he get up there?
Yeah.
They were saying that there was no sawing motion on the bark. Like, for someone to, like, be hoisting someone up there. That's what a lot of why they're also leaning towards suicide, because there's no sawing motion that they saw on the bark. But, like, someone could have had a ladder. Like, they didn't have to be hoisting him up. There was another way they could have done it, I'm sure. Like,
he was obviously already dead when they're putting him up there, so they could have,
And why would he choose to go see an acquaintance that he's not even friends with as the last person he wants to see before he takes his own life?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So unfortunately, this suicide ruling cleared Jeremiah's name in any wrongdoing, but he clearly had motive.
Yes. Yeah, and the t-shirt.
The t-shirt, his hat was in his apartment, and he was held hostage by Tanner.
Yeah, and I also refuse
a year prior
to accept that the testing on the t-shirt was inconclusive.
Right.
Go back and retest.
Jeremiah's apartment was never even searched as a crime scene, despite Tanner's hat being found there, and there being what looked like a struggle.
So we'll never have any information about his place.
Yeah,
they missed.
There was also an independent autopsy was also conducted by a forensic firm in Kansas City. The report asserted that the scene indicated self-suspension, and there was no evidence on the tree bark supporting the notion of external hoisting. So no evidence of sliding or sawing. On April 18th, 2018, the Trenton Police Department officially declared Tanner's death a suicide. So, yeah, the amount of laziness in law enforcement when the term suicide is thrown out there is astonishing.
Yeah.
They hear that, they're like, oh, we're done. We're not going to
Yeah.
search. We're not going to do any more. Nothing. We're done. It's suicide.
Yeah, they're just happy
When
about
there's conflicting evidence, you don't just stop investigating because one person's saying suicide. You need to rule out every scenario.
I agree with you 100%. And I wish we could protest outside of every freaking department. Like,
Yeah. Like, this was not a suicide. He went to an acquaintance's house that he wasn't even friends with, who he previously had held hostage. I think he wanted some revenge.
yeah, something. I don't know exactly what the motive would have been other than, but he's the only one that we wouldn't, I guess we probably don't know the whole story, but yeah, like that escalated quickly, hostage and all that,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of serious here.
It is, yeah. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Another frustrating case that needs more investigation.
Of course.
Since we did talk about suicide, if you or anyone you know is having thoughts of suicide, you can call or text the Suicide Lifeline at 988, 365 days a year, 24/7.
Get to know. I am doing the second little 10-minute episode. It's not an episode, Jesus. Case. All right. So we were talking about Daniel Robinson. He was born January 14th, 1987 to parents David Robinson and Melissa Edmonds. When he was born in Columbia, South Carolina, he was actually born missing his lower half of his right arm. He never let that hold him back, though. He played trumpet, and he loved to play video games. He taught himself how to play video games. He was known to be hardworking, very intelligent. He graduated from the College of Charleston in 2017 with a degree in geology. He got his dream job right after he had graduated with Matrix New World. He got a job there as a hydrogeologist.
That's cool.
Yeah. This job required him to relocate to Tempe, Arizona. You know what? I should have looked to make sure I pronounced that right.
I think that is right.
You think that is right? Okay.
Yeah.
He really relocated to Tempe, Arizona in 2019, where his sister Davisha already lived. Daniel remained very close to his family, specifically his dad, David. They talked multiple times a week for hours on the phone. And his father was still back in South Carolina. And on June 22nd, 2021, that night was no different for David and Daniel when they had a 2-hour conversation. And David would have no idea that this is the last time that he would talk to his son. On June 23rd, Daniel left for work driving his blue-gray 2017 Jeep Renegade. He was headed to Buckeye, Arizona to work a new job site. He arrived there around 7:22 a.m., where Daniel met his coworker for the day. Like they usually had met someone different job sites type of thing. His name was Kenneth. They started some small talk about the weather. It was hot that day. But soon Kenneth noticed some like weird things about Daniel, like staring off into the distance. And Daniel kept asking Kenneth if he, quote, wanted to go back to Phoenix to rest. Then all of a sudden at 9:45, even though work kind of just started and there was things to be done, Daniel got in his Jeep, put his seatbelt on, and waved goodbye to Kenneth and drove off. Kenneth at first thought Daniel just forgot something in the car, but when he drove off, he figured, well, maybe he just felt sick. So
Hmm.
Kenneth called the supervisor and let him know what had happened. And a few hours later, when Kenneth was leaving the job site, he decided to look for Daniel because apparently nobody had heard from him yet. It it had rained that day, so when Kenneth came to the end of the road from the job site where Daniel should have turned to head home, instead the tire tracks led in the opposite direction, heading deeper into the desert. So Kenneth decided to follow them, and he followed the trail as far as he could, but he eventually lost the trail and decided to contact Davisha, the sister, to let her know that we haven't heard from Daniel. So Davisha contacted David, the father, who then contacted the Buckeye County Police Department. But he was falsely, and I'm going to say it louder for the parents in the back, falsely told that he needed to wait 12 hours to report Daniel missing. So Daniel was reported missing until, it wasn't until later that evening that they got to report him
That's
missing.
awful.
Yeah. The next day, the only thing the police did to try and locate Daniel was called his cell phone twice, and they confirmed that he did not show up for work that day.
Wow, what great police work.
Yep. On the 25th, so now we're on to the next day, police conducted an aerial search but found nothing. By the 26th, David is flying in from Charleston to help look for his son. And the family went with. And when they arrived, they went directly to the police. And at this point, the only other thing police tried to do was they searched any kind of apps that were associated with his Jeep, like OnStar and stuff, to see if they could like get his final location, like where's the Jeep at. But unfortunately there was no apps or anything that he had linked to his car to like look at. And his last cell phone ping was in the same area that he had reportedly went missing from, and that ping was at 10:30 a.m. and he had left that area around 9:45 a.m.
Okay.
So the police asked if Daniel was acting strange or anything or had any enemies, but the family had nothing suspicious or concerning to report to the police. The police told the family two off-the-wall theories: that Daniel ran away in the middle of the desert, and that, he ran away. That's it. They had no proof of anything. Like, they're just telling him. They literally have no proof of anything at this point. The phone, the police, were going to just write it off that he's a missing person, but the family refused to accept that whatsoever.
Yeah, he was acting weird at work.
Yeah. So David let the police know that he was frustrated, and he was very verbal about what he felt about their lack of efforts in trying to find his son. And David was actually in the Army. He's a veteran, and he did 2 tours in Afghanistan. So thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah.
So he was not afraid of the Arizona desert. He immediately took a leadership role. He organized volunteers. He set them into different search teams. He got them organized in grid lines to cover as much surface area, like, detailed as possible. He himself jumped on a ATV, ran out, was looking all around. He got tents set up, like, with water, snacks. It was a full operation, and he was just leading the party.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Because he was determined. Yeah, it's his son.
Yeah.
Missing posters were made and handed out with Daniel's information on him. So he's a 24-year-old African-American, 5'8", 165 pounds, black hair, brown eyes, and he's missing his lower right arm. While they were searching, a skull was found, but it was determined to not be Daniel. On July 7th, police entered Daniel's apartment because family couldn't enter it. They couldn't get in. And they discovered the apartment clean and untouched. Remember that. On July 9th and 10th, the police department performed over 6 hours in total of aerial searches and found nothing. On July 17th, a rancher was looking for his cattle on his property. And then on the 19th, he was looking in the same spot on his property for the same cattle. And he found Daniel's Jeep laying on its passenger side in a ravine. So it was only 2 days. So the rancher went on the 17th, didn't see anything. 2 days later, on the 19th, searching the same area, he found the Jeep. So this is 4 weeks now that he was missing, and only a few miles from where he was last seen. The airbags were deployed, and evidence suggested that the driver was wearing a seatbelt. His orange work vest, t-shirt, brown boots, and his jeans and socks that were inside out were found in the Jeep. Also, his wallet, phone, and keys were in the Jeep. Because police saw no signs of foul play, they refused to do forensics. Oh, shit. Because police saw no signs of foul play, they refused to do forensics testing, but the family pushed back. And finally, on July 22nd, so that's 2 days later, the police finally ran testing on the vehicle, but the findings were never released to the public. The Robinson family was very outspoken about their real feelings over the kind of job the police were doing or not doing to find Daniel. Yeah. They were so frustrated with the situation that David decided to hire his own PI named Jeff McGrath. Jeff specializes in accident reconstruction, and some things he found after he took a look at the accident were suspicious. He thought that the accident scene looked staged because the Jeep crashed around 1 p.m. So he's getting all this information from the little black box that collects information in your car. So the Jeep crashed around 1 p.m. That was when the airbags were deployed. And then there was red paint found on the Jeep that Jeff believed could have been transferred when another vehicle hit the Jeep. And
was it 1 p.m. the day he went missing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it would have been the day he went missing.
All that same day, okay.
Yep. The red paint on the vehicle, they thought that it would transfer onto the Jeep. And that would explain also some of the damage to the vehicle. Also, after the crash, someone tried to turn over the car 46 times, and then they got the car started. It was driven 11 miles and ended up in the ravine where it was found. So with the rancher's accounts of finding the Jeep and the PI's investigation, plus all of the searches done before it, and nothing was found, no one believes that the car had been there for the 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Jeff also re-looked over Daniel's apartment again and found someone had been inside searching the closet and also accessed Daniel's computer. The family got police to run forensics on the computer, and it was found where whoever was on the computer was looking up his search history and the documents. By the 1 year of Daniel missing, David and his team searched 3,500 square miles in 49 weeks.
Wow.
There was multiple press conferences held, and David asked for the FBI and more press attention about his son's case, saying it only took 2 days for the FBI and national news to get involved in the Gabby Petito case. And David told his son's case at the Las Vegas Crime Con in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
He decided in 2022 also to run for Congress, saying he would love to make it easier for families to find missing children. And David also made a website for Daniel. It's pleasehelpfinddaniel.com for everything related to Daniel. GoFundMe's, all that. We will link that as well to take a look. And I want to end this with a quote from David, a father still looking for his son. "The only thing I care about is finding my son, and I will do whatever it takes to find him."
That's so sad.
Yeah.
So to me, it sounds like someone that knew him did this. If they knew where he lived and that he had a computer in his apartment.
Yeah. Like, I don't know where that plays into this. Like, is it a cover up? Like, you know, that's
right. Like, what's the motive here?
Yeah. Because it's pretty shitty how the police were doing everything. So were the police covering it up?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, did the police go in
right.
and actually look, you know?
Right. Right.
And also, like, did we really look into this Kenneth guy? I couldn't find anything on Kenneth, you know? Like, hopefully he's innocent. He reported him missing, so I don't get bad feelings from him, but, you know, I would hope he was looked into.
And that's the coworker?
Yeah, that was the guy that, at the job site. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's the one that reported that he was staring off and acting weird. So it sounds like he was definitely distracted by something. Something was on his mind.
Yeah.
Almost like he knew something would happen, kind of. Like, I wonder if was there any talk of drug use? Any history?
There was no history of drug use. He was a clean-cut guy. Like, he was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like, I don't know, maybe if he was involved in something or came across something and was a witness to something and someone wants to get rid of him. I don't know.
But yeah, no,
it seems like someone knew him. If they knew when he was leaving work, knew where his apartment was, knew that he had a laptop or computer in there to even go through. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, though, like you said, why was he acting so strange?
Right.
You know, like...
Yeah. There's something going on.
Yeah.
We don't know what.
No. So it's just... That was the 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I got that case because when I was re-listening to Morbid, when he first went missing, they did a little segment asking people for help and information because he had gone missing at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and when I re-listened to Morbid, I was like, oh my God, let me Google that case to see if that man was ever found. And he wasn't. It broke my heart.
Yeah, because this was pretty recent.
Yeah. So, we just hope that Daniel comes home.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of information we're missing there.
Yeah.
Something sketchy happened.
Yeah. Sounds like he's got a badass dad, though, too.
Yeah. His dad sounds awesome. And I hope if he did run for political office or whatever, that he got it.
You know, I didn't look. I should have, but yeah, I hope so. Even though it's in my own state, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. All right, we'll go on to case number 3. Shane Fell. He is from Harvey, Louisiana. He was 36 years old when he mysteriously disappeared after a car accident. On June 10th, 2011, Shane and his brother Brett went out with some friends to a pool hall known as Rum Runners. Which, speaking of Rum Runner, I love Rum Runners.
It
It was located off Barataria Boulevard in Moreau, Louisiana. The men all went their separate ways at the end of the night around 12:30 a.m., but Shane lost control of his car while he was driving home on a winding stretch of road. His car flipped and he ended up in a ditch between Klein Road and Moreau Road, or Marrero Road. He was able to climb out of his wrecked car through one of the windows. His brother just happened to call him a few minutes later, and Shane told his brother he wrecked his car. He was going to attempt to get home on his own, but Brett told him to just wait there. I'll come and get you. Shane called Brett back a few minutes later to make sure Brett was on his way, and Brett recalled that Shane sounded a little panicked, but he just assumed he was still shaken up from the accident. The phone call was sadly the last time Brett would ever speak to his brother. He arrived to the crash site about 20 minutes after the first phone call, but Shane was nowhere to be found.
Oh.
A few police officers, an ambulance, and the fire department were already there when Brett arrived because a man who had been driving down River Road saw the overturned car and he called 911. He told the dispatcher that the car's windshield wipers were moving, but he wasn't sure if there was anyone inside the vehicle. They searched the area but found no trace of Shane except for one of his shoes in the mud. So in the short time it took everyone to arrive at the scene, Shane had already vanished.
Wow.
So this was like minutes.
That's scary.
Yeah. Officers checked Shane's home and a nearby hospital, but there were no signs of him. Police were thinking he may have fled the scene to avoid a DUI, but there has not been any activity on his bank card since that day. Nor his cell phone.
Wow. Wait, what state
Family
was
said,
it?
this was Louisiana.
Louisiana. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. Family said it is very out of character for him to leave without telling anyone. His family searched the area around the accident site for the next 3 days, but didn't find anything. The Jefferson Parish police office, even searched the wood and the nearby Mississippi River levee. It is unclear what type of injuries Shane could have had from the accident. It was determined he was not wearing his seatbelt, and his car flipped over at least once, so there's a good chance he could have had a head injury. That still doesn't really explain how he could have wandered away so quickly without being found.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird. On June 14, 2011, search dogs scoured the area, but it had recently rained and they weren't able to pick up on which direction Shane left. Helicopters even scanned the area. On the night of the 16th, some friends and family spent some time on the road around the time the accident would have happened to kind of just see what traffic would have been like. And they noted that enough cars went by that someone could have witnessed something or even possibly taken Shane. Brett is quoted saying, "I would give everything I have to find my brother. Without him, my life isn't the same, and it will never be the same." He had even taken a leave of absence from his job to just concentrate on finding his brother.
Oh.
Tim Miller, the founder of Texas EquiSearch, even said that the case was one of the most perplexing ones he had ever seen, and he didn't believe Shane had fallen into the Mississippi River. A few weeks later, detectives were still investigating, but they had exhausted all leads by that time. At the time of his disappearance, he had a Georgia's driver license because he had only just recently moved back to Louisiana. Searches were done in Savannah, Georgia, where he had been living, in case Shane had some memory loss from his head injury and maybe tried to make his way back to Savannah, but nothing turned up. His family has continued to search for him. His mother, Terry Fell, is convinced Shane is still alive, but that he might not remember who he is. There have been several reported sightings of Shane in various homeless camps, but none of them have been confirmed, and his case has been cold for more than a decade.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's...
It's so weird. Where did he go? He knew his brother was coming. He even called and confirmed, "Hey, are you still coming?" And his brother said he'd be there in a few minutes. Why did he?
Yeah, that's I don't know, because also, like, a little piece of my brain's like aliens or like,
Right.
like I can't help it. Like my
You never
brain
know. Like,
thinks of that, but
mhm.
I don't unfortunately think he's, even if he suffered from a head injury, I think he had his phone on him.
Right.
So I feel like even if he suffered from some kind of amnesia, he would have stuck. So, well,
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Like,
yeah, I
that's why
that
like
one,
cases like these always like interest me so much because I'm like, even though there's a lot of people that like answers, I like the unknown. I like trying to like figure out like what could have happened.
I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling it gives me.
I know it is like very chilling, you
Yeah,
know?
it gives me a little like unset. It gives you an unsettling feeling.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like
Yeah,
did someone come by and like offer him a ride?
yeah, and he,
And then but then where did they take him? What happened to him after that?
yeah. There's so much.
Yeah. There's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, because we literally have nothing to go on. Nothing.
But at the same time there's no obvious possibility or else we would be finding him, you know?
Yeah,
Potentially.
yeah,
It's,
it's true.
so I feel bad for his family. Like I feel like these cases are the worst for family because there is just no answers. They have no idea.
Yeah, we had a couple. We've had two of them now. For
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yeah.
All right. I am doing the final episode, and I'm sorry that I am doing this final episode because it's going to end on a sad note. I apologize.
Oh.
But it's still a case that needs to be told, like we said.
Yep.
And I want to start by clarifying clarifying that after this case in 1963, the laws changed where states have to provide legal representation to defendants even if they cannot afford one. But
Okay.
either way, in this case, absolutely nothing was done correctly, and racism was definitely the reason for this terrible execution of South
My God.
Carolina's youngest person put to death. George Stinney Jr. was born October 21st, 1929, in Altoona, South Carolina, to parents George Junius Stinney Sr. and Amy Brown Stinney. George Sr. worked at the town's sawmill, and the family grew up in the company housing on the black side of town. The white and the black sides of town were segregated in very small towns in the South. It was common.
Yeah.
And this town was separated by the railroad tracks. George Stinney Jr. was playing in his front yard with his siblings, younger brother Charles, 12, younger sister Catherine, 10, and 7-year-old Amy, the youngest. On March 22nd, 1944, Betty June Binnicker, 11 years old, and Mary Emma Thames, aged 8, were riding their bikes looking for maypops, or also known as passion flowers. As they passed the Stinney's house, the girls asked George and Amy if they had seen any of the flowers, and they both said no, and the girls continued on their way. The girls would never return home that night, and their bodies would be found the next day in a ditch on the African American side of town by a pastor's son.
Oh.
They both had severe blunt force trauma to the head by a blunt instrument with a round end, and Betty had some signs of sexual assault.
My God. How? And they were what? Like you said, 10 or 12?
It was 8 and 12.
My God.
Yeah. George had mentioned to someone that he had just seen the girls the day before, and in a small town, that information got back to the police quickly. So George was brought in for questioning alone. He is questioned for hours with no attorney or his parents present, handcuffed in a small room. Just a 14-year-old boy surrounded by police officers, 4 hours behind a closed door. Police claim George confessed to murdering the girls, and that they had, even though they had no proof or a written confession from him. So they arrest George, and on April 24th, 1944, all in the same day, George's jury was selected. He was tried and sentenced to death for the murders.
Oh my God.
He was represented by a tax attorney that had never defended a criminal case in his entire life.
A tax attorney?
Yep.
In a murder trial?
Yep. 6 people were called to testify, including 3 officers that all stated George confessed to the killings.
But no witnesses.
No witnesses, and all the police officers, when they retold the stories, all of them had different stories.
Oh, so we're just going to go off all these different stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
He was. The trial took 2.5 hours, and the jury deliberated for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Not like this.
And how old is this kid? 12?
14.
14.
Yep.
They're going to deliberate for 10 minutes.
And not a single African American person was present in that courthouse that day.
Of course not.
Except for George.
That is not a fair trial.
Innocent George.
Mm-hmm.
So within a day, he had to be moved to Columbia, South Carolina, because he was at risk of lynching. Of course, no transcripts from the trial were ever released. While George was incarcerated for 81 days, he only saw his parents once, and that was right after the trials.
Oh my God.
His father was fired from his job, losing the company housing, and the family was sadly run out of town.
Oh my God.
Of course, not a single appeal was filed by the attorney. George was...
Because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a tax attorney.
Yep. So, George was led to his execution at 7:30 a.m. June 16th, 1944. He was...
Oh, they didn't waste any time.
No, 81 days.
2 months?
81 days, yep.
Oh, 81 days.
81 days.
But the trial was April, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He stood 5'1" and was 95 pounds, and he hardly fit in the electrocution chair. George was asked if he had any last words, and he said, "No, sir." As he wept, the switch was flipped on George's life. There is a small, and I do mean small, flicker of justice for George and his family. In 2014, George's siblings, who were now in their 70s, fought to have George's false conviction vacated from his record, as the siblings could provide an alibi of the time of the murders. Thankfully, they won that case. However, that is 70 years after he was put to death, sadly.
Yeah. That is horrible.
Is that not horrendous?
Why couldn't they have used that sibling's testimony during the trial that, hey, he was with us, we were playing together in the yard?
No, they didn't even question anybody. They didn't care.
And so did they ever do any further investigation to figure out who killed these poor 2 little girls?
No, I researched to try and figure out, and I couldn't find a definitive, like, somebody got arrested and was tried for those girls.
Well, they're probably dead now. That piece of shit got away with it.
Yeah, and an innocent 14-year-old boy was put to death.
And this person didn't even bother to come forward and be like, oh, don't kill this 14-year-old, I did it.
Oh, God. No, he raped and killed 2 little girls. Is that not... I was like,
That's
wow.
disgusting.
That is...
All around, it's disgusting.
I know, I'm very sorry that was how he ended. But George, I needed everybody to know about George.
Yeah.
Okay? So, he was innocent, and
Who was on this jury? I just want to talk.
Right. All white men. All white men.
You know it, yeah.
Yeah. Women weren't
Disgusting.
allowed on juries then, I'm sure.
No. Yeah, if we were, hopefully this wouldn't happen because we have common sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, everybody think of George.
And it was just the anniversary of this, like, of when the crime happened. You
Yeah.
said March 22nd. It's March 26th, and we're recording this. So.
Yeah, we haven't been trying that, but that's kind of been happening.
No, I know. We've been having a couple line up.
Yeah. So, again, let us know what you guys think of an episode like this and the format that we did it in.
Yeah, do you want us to continue doing true crime in a dime, or do you just would you prefer us to give these short cases one episode?
Yeah, just do quick little ditties, or
Yeah, or do you like them all grouped together like this?
Yeah, let us know.
We want feedback.
Make like a shadow and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast.
Go follow us on TikTok at
Lurking in the Shadows Pod.
Send us a Gmail at
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast at gmail.com. And keep lurking around for our next episode.
Bye.
Bye.